Hi, everybody. Welcome back to In the Huddle, show 24. Pleasure to be with you. I'm Vance Palm, Stan Green, Trevor Horn. We're going to change it up today. We learned something last week that as the season gets a little bit skinnier towards the playoffs with football and we're getting into winter sports shortly, we're going to change up our format. Instead of 4 quarters, a la wrestling, we're going to go 3 periods. The smartest guy in the room said, why don't we get into 3 periods with the wrestling theme? Pretty soon we'll have wrestling. Also, before we get too far down the path, did you feel the rain last night? Are we getting close? Is it starting to happen? Is fall starting to come upon us, Dan?
Week 11 or 12, finally? Yes.
12, yeah.
Is that what that was, coming from the sky?
I tell you what, I was riding over to another event, and I get down to my truck, and I said, oh,
that
we're
wind,
here. We're here.
That wind was just...
rain, right in time for playoff football. Get a hold of it. Hey, settle down. Right in time for playoff football. And in order to keep this thing rolling along pretty quickly, I still want to stay within the framework of kind of how we set it up. We'll start off with the Director of School Support Services. Dan, your thoughts on last week? We're going to get into the deep trenches of it with Trevor, but playoff football's underway. And
yeah, I mean,
everything.
So exciting. Yeah, everything's underway. Specifically to football, your question, what a season for North High so far. And then BHS is starting to roll. It looks like Frontiers kind of got it going. And Centennial, wow.
And stand with that. And Trevor, we know you're going to get rolling on this. Yep. Some tough losses, some tough defeats. So that sets the table for it. Yep. But before you get too deep into the weeds, your overall feeling of the first week of playoffs.
We have got some cool stuff coming up just because of what happened last week. And really, the big game, obviously, for us in the district is Frontier Centennial Friday night in a rematch of a game that was just played 2 weeks ago and was only a 1-score game until a final pick 6 in the final couple minutes of the game. So that and the whole idea of the 1A bracket being in the semifinals this week, and their championship game is a solo event, and then those champions of 1AA and 1A getting a bye week going into state rather than coming out of the regular season. I think it's kind of hey, congratulations on making the biggest division. We'll give you a week off if you win this thing.
That's great. Good point. So second period is going to be tennis, water polo, and volleyball. Tennis, water polo, and volleyball is going to be the second period. Third period, we're going to get into predictions. But right now, let's take a look at what happened. In the recap, let's go back.
We had 13 games last week with Kern High schools in it, and one matchup of 2 Kern High schools. So we'll start off first in Division 6. Number 10 Foothill. Great season for Chris Weddle in the first year. They had to weather a storm and the whole first year of a program and trying to figure out the coach and the players, but they finished off in a 35-7 loss to Granite Hills, the number 7 seed in the Division 6 bracket. So the season is a finale, 4-7 record for the Trojans. Also in Division 6, Boron came down the hill and defeated Golden Valley 20-17. One of those games where it's indicative of an 8-9 matchup where it doesn't matter who's a home team and who's the road team in this one. It just really comes down to who gets the ball at the end of the game, and the Bobcats were victorious in this. So after a 9-win season last year, the Bulldogs finished with 4 wins this year. But you could see that they've got some speed and talent, and they'll get back at it again. And then also in D6, how about this, guys? Nathan Gonzalez rushed 39 times for 296 yards and 6 touchdowns, which bested a 279-yard passing performance by Kern Valley's quarterback, Zane Carver, who accounted for 5 of the 6 touchdowns for the Bronx, as Miramonte, who scored the most points of any team in the Central Section playoffs this weekend. 56-39 win for the Lions. Huge win, specifically because it's the first playoff win in program history in 15 years of football at Miramonte High School. So congratulations, Christian Johnson, that entire program.
A lot of stories in D6, Stan, with those 3 games. Your first thoughts on Coach Weedle at Foothill High School and kind of getting things going now at Foothill?
I think he did a fantastic job this year. I was really happy to see that team move along and get better throughout the year, and then get into the playoffs was great. That Golden Valley Boron game, I feel like I was watching that early, and Golden Valley had a lead, and for most of the game, I feel like I could be wrong. And then, like you said, the last team to have the ball. And then Miramonte, watch out, because I texted CJ last night. We were talking via text, and I said, hey, good win, great job. And he said, yeah, we've got some things to work on. So if 56 points is things to work on, then watch out this week.
Did he say anything about the fact that you and I picked him, but somebody else did not pick him? Did he say anything about that?
I can't really read exactly what he said, but he did say some stuff about Trevor's selection that night.
Hey,
He said something about me, but not about the current me. He said something about the 22-year-old me.
Hey,
last week's Trevor, not this week's
Division
Trevor.
6, good stuff, fun stuff in there. Look
Yep.
out, here comes Miramonte.
And
Okay.
we'll get into the brackets of what's coming
Yep,
up in the
of
next
course.
week later in this.
Of course,
Division 5, do we really want to talk about this game? Are you going to be okay? Do you need a tissue?
No, I just actually hats off to San Ynez. You coming? I mean, that's a long way to show up here in November in Arvin against the team that just won the league. And I had a lot of my Arvin cronies texting me about 3 hours before kickoff, and everybody was pumped, everybody was hyped, and then you see the outcome, and hats off to San Ynez.
Yeah, the Pirates came in and beat the Arvin Bears 35-21. Talked to Robert Riley on Saturday. Said that, there were a few things here and there that, the game was a little bit closer, and then it just kind of got away from them at the end. 77 yards passing for Andrew Rosales, 135 those to Xavier Brooks, who finishes out the season with 1,204 receiving yards. Top 2 in the Central section, and both of them are juniors. So there is a bright future for the Bears going into the 2025 season.
Yeah, but Stan, they had 35 points scored against them. They've got a dynamic offense. They have the lefty. He's got all those targets out there. But Coach Riley, I'm sure the next day was thinking about that defense, 35 points.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot. So what was it? Johnny Carson with a great Karnak. Remember that?
Yeah, right.
Trevor had the score exactly right. He just had the wrong teams. Right?
Wow.
Didn't you say 35-21?
Yeah, I mean that's
I did.
that's but
What a great season though. Like to your point for Arvin though. I mean they played some good games.
and think
this
about
year.
who they have coming back. They have all their weapons
Yeah,
coming
all
back.
their weapons.
Yeah.
All right, D4.
D4, wow. Upset city here. Number 10 South went up to Dos Palace, one of the longest drives in the Valley portion. And Josh Encinas passed for 205 yards, rushed for the lone touchdown because in a 14-7 victory over Dos Palace, South High had a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and 2 field goals to get to 14 points. And the defense did the job for the Spartans, and they're moving on. And as the 10 seed, gentlemen, they got a home game in the quarterfinals because number 15 Roosevelt defeated number 2 Exeter. How about that?
Wow.
So they had to drive 3 hours up to Dos Palos. Now they get to have a home game this Friday. So congratulations to Kerry Mills. Might be his most successful season going into the postseason, especially if they can get this win over the Rough Riders. I mean, wow. I mean, you look at Kerry Mills and what he's able to do with these guys. The first couple games of the season, they're just trying to feel it out. You could feel when they beat Ridgeview 21-0, you're like, there's more here about this South High team. And they started playing, and they had that little hiccup against Independence, an 18-6 loss, and then things just start rolling a little bit more, and those playmakers start making more plays, and he gets more confidence in his senior quarterback, who really turned out to be one of the brightest spots in Kern County this year. And here they are still playing and at home on Friday night.
Stan?
First game I saw this year. I think, were you there?
The Ridgeview South game? Yeah.
And I remember my first impression was, good Lord, they're big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They looked
Huge
apart.
front. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, the hiccup against Independence, and then I think that Tehachapi got him right.
Yeah.
They led that game for a while, if I'm not mistaken. But, South looks the part. And,
Yeah, they do.
Kerry's always going to bring a team ready to play. He's a great coach. Isn't he our longest tenured coach? I think we talked about possibly.
Yeah, it's him, and then Gutierrez right after that. Mike Gutierrez is right after him.
And so, I mean, it just, he's going to have them ready to play. And I'm happy for South to have a home game. That's awesome.
And if they were to get past Roosevelt, I see them being able to hang with Coalinga and Chowchilla. Boy, very, very fun story. Tough choice to make on our game of the week of where to go and where to cover.
Yeah.
But South, you were right there. That's a close one. Next up.
Also in Division 4, the North High Stars continue rolling along. Elijah Valdivinos, 147 yards rushing, a score while Bradley Dockery threw and rushed for a TD, including a 40-yarder to a wide-open Caden Hayner. 30-13 victory for the Stars. Adam Levinson continues to get this team playing so well and just so together. The whole team went to the Veterans Parade yesterday downtown. Him and his wife, Tiffany, posted a bunch of photos of it all over Facebook. I mean, this is becoming a family and they've really bought into the Oildale way of life, and the players are buying in, and here they are in the quarterfinals, and they're going to be at number 1 Shafter on
Can you
Friday
imagine?
night.
They get. Let's just. Hey,
We'll get into that.
Let's say they get past Shafter. South gets past Roosevelt. I'm just saying, and then I know you know where I'm headed with this. Can you imagine a North-South championship game in D4? Kind of far-fetched, but if it were to happen, wow.
What a difference maker.
And that game would be in Oildale.
Adam and
Whoa.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
Those two are difference makers. It's funny too because it really, you don't just show up somewhere and in 8 months build something of that caliber, like family, people matter, and that culture. Usually it takes years to build that culture to become that successful. And the success they've had and the culture he's built in that short period of time is incredible.
Well, and you can see a big difference in those first couple of games. He was really trying to be Paul Gola, who was his mentor since he was a freshman in high school. He's been with Gola this whole time until finally breaking away and taking this job. And you could see that he was really trying to do everything that Gola kind of showed him what to do. And then he realized, he goes, hey, you know what? I'm my own man. Let me instill my own personality into this stuff. And you can really see that he's done that. And he really is doing a great job with it.
I'll just add this in there. That school, and we could say this about every school. That's a disclaimer about every school. Something special about North High School. When we go out there and call sports out there, there's a spirit out there. There's a vibe out there. Going up in that school, in that Turkulatis area up there, and Coach Silver, and I see those veterans up there watching these guys play. Fun atmosphere. The way that you guys built that whole gym, cool. With it just flows right out of the field. It's pretty cool. That's going to be pretty fun.
And with our boys basketball program, we're going to be out there a lot this winter.
Oh, did you hear the boss? Say,
hey,
thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Write that down.
Sorry, I was trying to involve all of us by saying we.
Bring that down.
I'm going to be out there a lot.
I was trying to involve all of us.
I love it. Love you, Trevor. D3.
Yeah, so the next 3 games are going to go over, obviously, are going to be, sadly, are going to be losses for our locals in Division 3. Number 11, Stockdale went up to Delano in a 48-14 loss to Kennedy. So Stockdale's season ends. Obviously, tough situation for Chad Dials to get into it mid-season, but he did the best he could to keep that ship rolling as far as they could, and they got into the playoffs, and they did their best to finish off on a high note. Also in Division 3, a big hiccup for Independence, losing to number 10 Napomo at home, 26-21. It was a last-second touchdown by Napomo where the quarterback rushed out to his right, evaded a couple defenders and was able to cross the goal line. And that's how Napomo was able to finish that one off. So the season ends for Independence. And then in Division 2, Highland went out to the coast and probably played one of the hottest teams in the Central Section in San Luis Obispo in a 26-8 loss for the Scots. So what we thought was going to be, at one point was a 4-0 record. Injuries got ahead of them. Tough Valley League schedule got ahead of them. And then this was just a tough matchup in the first round for Highland against one of the better quarterbacks in the Central Section, a very, very hot Tigers team.
All right, Trevor, we're getting towards the end of this first period, but we have a few really big games to talk about. D1A.
And these are all quarterfinal games because it's only 3 week bracket with 8 teams in each of these 2 Division 1s. First one was Thursday night. Centennial was up in Clovis at Buchanan, and that defense just came to play. 3 interceptions, forced fumble, 20-7 win for Centennial, and there were timely interceptions. The first fumble recovery set up the first touchdown for Jason Grant. Well, there was a safety on the first possession for Buchanan where the ball just rolled in the back of the end zone, and then they took a 7-2 lead, Buchanan did, on a rushing touchdown, and then the fumble recovery for Centennial, they were able to get the ball back, score, and then they never gave up the lead from there. There was even a 4th interception that was called out of bounds, but the foot was in bounds. But, it's one of those bang-bang plays where it's tough to make that decision as an official, and he saw what he saw, but it was great defensive performance, something that Centennial really has kind of prided themselves on all year long. So here they are as the 7th seed heading into the semifinals.
Okay, stop right there, hold it, because hold on. We're going to talk about the big game coming up that we're calling, but I do want to get your take on the fact that Coach Starrett, you lose your quarterback, you lose your offense, quote unquote, no offense. He's tired of hearing that. So how can you transition into taking your own fate in your hands? Defense.
Yeah, his mindset with this team is a marvel to me. You know, you lose Jet, then you lost Myers or Roland Myers.
Roland Myers can't play offense. He's still playing on defense, but he can't lift his arm up to throw the ball. So,
so you lose him on offense. And you talk about being in a difficult situation, but, you know, he's got those kids' mental mindset right. And they weren't worried about going to Buchanan at all. Short week, go up on Thursday too.
Yep.
You know, and they're Hayes in the barn after Thursday night, and they're like, okay, who are we going to face?
But isn't that what we talked about last week? Is that maybe the Thursday night was the best thing for Centennial after the loss to Frontier? Maybe just getting back on the field and not thinking about all the injuries and just getting on the field and playing and being a team and being a family was probably the best thing for them.
You said that. Okay, perfect segue, big boy.
Yep, and Frontier was at home as the 3 seed, and they got the victory 21-14 over Bowler. Brady Campbell threw for 209 yards, including a 73-yarder to Song Ginyu, and then a 13-yarder to Kobe Watson. R.J. Green rushed for 93 yards and a TD. And Bullard's quarterback can throw the deep ball, but the secondary for Frontier did such a great job defending their receivers that they weren't able to get enough long plays to overcome the good offense for the Frontier Titans. So 21-14 lead, and then here we go. We got a rematch.
I talked to a buddy of mine that was there, Fresno guy that I work with. He was there, and I talked to him about it, and he said, man, that quarterback is something else. And I said, you know what? Brady Campbell's starting to come into his own. We've seen it happen. We watched it against Centennial with a couple of unbelievable dimes. He's got his cousin is probably arguably the best center in the Valley. He was all area last year.
Only a sophomore.
Right, only a sophomore. So you're watching that connection with Kobe, and everything kind of start to come together. You hand the ball off to RJ, and then you see Centennial with this great defense they played. It's going to be an epic game of the week.
Well, how about this? They give the ball in a wildcat formation to Logan Slayton. He goes around the right side, gets down to the 1 yard line, but they called a holding play on 3rd down, pushes him back. No, it was 4th and short. It was like 4th and 2. Pulled them back, made it 4th and 11 to like 33. Can't kick a 50-yarder in high school. So they know that they're so close. There was like a minute and a half left in the game, and Bandy pulls out his tricks, and they just throw a seam route to Songbei, and he catches a ball. He gets down at the 5-yard line. Victory formation. Incredible play calling.
I think it's the biggest game of Brady Campbell's career coming up in his high school career. As a junior, he's got whole another year, but what a statement game this is going to be, because it'll set up a more unbelievable possible.
He's really hit his stride. He's really hit his stride now.
And congratulations to Malcolm Watson, who received his first Division I off Fresno State on Saturday after the victory.
The Bulldogs.
There you go.
Okay, Big T Horn, here we go.
Right,
final one in the first period.
Second to final. We still got one double A game to talk about.
Right, got it.
But the other semifinalist locally in Division 1A will be the BHS Drillers, who had a 23-7 win over San Joaquin Memorial at home in the first round. Drillers now 10-1, and they will be hosting Arroyo Grande, the number 4 seed, who beat Clovis West in the quarterfinals. Another big-time performance by Bryson Abbott, 152 yards rushing and a TD, while Elijah Cavazos threw 2 touchdown passes to Isaiah Richard and Jalen Ford. Jalen Ford, guys, so dynamically fast. Also had an interception. He goes up and he gets it at the high point. And here the Drillers are back at home in the semifinals, looking for the first final appearance since the Drillers won the Division I title over Central in 2016. Rashawn Sheehy really has this team rolling in the right direction.
You know, Stan, when they say things like, hey, and we hear it all the time, like, let's just use this, like, when the Yankees are playing good, it's good for baseball. When it's the Lakers Celtics, it's good for the NBA. Yeah. When certain teams are playing well, it's good for that. Well, the Drillers are back, and it's good for the southern section.
I think Bakersfield High, the way they're playing right now, is so good for football. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when we get done with this show, remember those commercials? It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Yep.
I feel like we need to make a PSA for it's mid-November. Do you know where the Drillers are?
Exactly, Stan.
We need a PSA. People better watch out.
Well, how about this? We are guaranteed a finalist next week with the Frontier Centennial winner.
Yep.
And as long as BHS is able to get through Arroyo Grande, we'll get into those brackets. And really quickly, in 1AA, Liberty had a tough loss to number 3 Central in a 35-14 loss. Second year in a row that the Patriots season has come to an end to the Grizzlies on the road. So we have no teams in that Division 1AA bracket, but we do have the 1A bracket. You can see 3 of the 4 semifinalists are Kern High School District programs.
Okay, I see on my phone 150. That is a 20-minute first period, just like hockey. Oh, wait, we're doing wrestling. It's supposed to be 3-minute periods. All right, back right after this second period.
Valley Strong's youth accounts help kids practice earning and spending in the real world.
So, my rate for dishes is going up with inflation.
Oh, is it?
Blame the economy.
Because when we plant financial literacy young, it grows the rest of their lives. Valley Strong's youth accounts teach kids how to save and earn interest on their hard-earned money.
Hey! You should be earning interest on your savings. Make the money work for you.
Because when we plant financial literacy young, it grows the rest of their lives.
Welcome back to In the Huddle, 24th show. Can't wait. The 25th one we're going to announce here pretty quickly. We're in the second period. We switched into wrestling increments as far as our timing. 3 periods. We're in the second one now. Let me just say, Trevor, go. How's that?
How about this? We have 3 different teams in the Central Section Tennis Championships going on right now. All 3 of these matches started at 1 o'clock. The one I'm going to be heading to right away is Division I playoffs. Liberty, the 1 seed, hosting San Luis Obispo. This is a rematch of the Division I finals last year. SLO was able to get ahead of Liberty in their first championship appearance. Here Liberty is hosting for the first time.
Finals,
championships right now.
If you're in the neck of the woods over there,
head on over.
In the Northwest.
Yep.
Finals tennis right now at Liberty.
I mean, Liberty's done such a great job. They beat San Joaquin Memorial in the quarterfinals 7-2. Last Tuesday, they beat Royal Grande 5-4. I covered that game for Kern High Network, and then I'll be out there to cover this one. Liberty's looking for their first tennis section championship in program history.
Wow, that's crazy.
In Division III, the East High Blades and their head coach, former soccer coach, Marty Martinez, still undefeated, 29-0 on the road out at Lompoc. And this is a very tough Lompoc team.
Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm checking the weather over
They
there.
haven't lost a set yet in their 3 matches against Paso, Lemoore, and Frontier last week in the semifinals. But this East High team, they're scrappy, and they do a lot of good work. And just for the fact that this is a bunch of girls who all but one didn't play tennis until they got on the team. Not just got into high school, got on the team.
65 degrees and sunny right now in Lompoc.
So
come on, Blades.
And then we have 2 Kern County teams playing in the Division IV championships with number 3 Shafter at number 1 Chavez. Shafter got here on the heels of a 5-4 victory over Pioneer Valley, a 5-4 victory over the Crothers, and then finally a 6-3 victory up in Madera last Tuesday over Torres. And so Shafter playing a league rival for the section championship.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Water polo semifinals are tonight. Frontier on the girls' side in Division III trying to become the first district water polo program to play for a Central Section championship. How cool is that?
That's pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we've only had the pool for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years. So what an amazing accomplishment to get this far. They were so excited when they won and advanced. The AD started texting me immediately.
Well,
I would imagine.
And they got a gift with Santa Ynez winning in the quarterfinals in an upset, much like the Titans did after winning on the road last week. And so here they are playing tonight in the semifinals with a chance for the championship Saturday, which will be played at Sierra Pacific High School in Hanford. Those times are not set because obviously there's some schools like Clovis West and Garces that have boys and girls in the semifinals. So what they'll do is once all the games are finished tonight, then the Central Section tomorrow will figure out the start times because they like to get the same schools in back-to-back games so they can keep that crowd energy kind of going.
Trevor, where's Frontier Semi tonight at?
It's at the Kern District Pool.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So it's a home game for them at 6 o'clock tonight. And then we've got regional volleyball playoffs. Ooh. People forget that all 8 teams that made the Division I playoffs in the Central Section in volleyball all were at-large bids just by getting into Division I.
When you ask that question in the huddle at Centennial to our 2 volleyball players, are you still practicing? Are you still getting ready?
Yeah,
They are.
They knew. they knew something I didn't know. So I called. So I did what I
Write
do.
this down.
So I made a phone call and I found the answer. And Ryan Toss said, yeah, all 8 teams will get an at-large. But, the winner will get the championship, Clovis North, which they're in the Open and they're on the road tonight. On Thursday because they're in a 8-team bracket. And then Liberty gets the 11 seed in Division I. They got to go all the way down to San Marcos. So they've obviously been on the road for a couple hours already, heading all the way down there. I'm looking for They're at San Marcos, the 6th seed tonight. And then Centennial is at home tonight as the 2 seed in Division II, hosting number 15 Rancho Cucamonga. Talked to Kim Harper Sunday night, and she goes, we've done our research. We, know this club team, Rancho Cucamonga, a decent team. The team we'll see in the semifinals, a team that ousted BCHS in the quarterfinals last year in Division II. BCHS happens to be the number 1 seed in D2, so we may have an all-Kern County championship in Division II in the SoCal regionals if the seeds hold for Centennial and BCHS. It made me think. I was thinking about this morning. When does that ever happen? I remember. This is taken back to my Sacramento days. I remember seeing that where 2 league rivals actually met up in the Division I NorCal finals in volleyball. Granite Bay was undefeated that year and went on for an undefeated season, beating Los Al's in the state playoffs. But we could possibly see that again. Centennial, they're no strangers to winning state championships. Obviously, it's been nearly 30 years since those things happened, but what a great way for Kim Harper and Sarah Slayton, who was on those teams that won the state championships as coaches now, leading the way for the Golden Hawks.
Director of School Support Services, what time will Mr. Haskell be opening his gym tonight? Is that a 6 p.m. start?
It is a 6 p.m. start.
Yeah, probably 5 o'clock.
Very good. Kern County, you've got a chance to watch Liberty play for a Division I championship in tennis right now. You also have a chance tonight, 6 o'clock, to go to the Centennial High School gym, the Golden Hawk gym, and watch some big-time high school volleyball. If you're watching this right now, you've got open night tonight. Get there.
And I'll be at Liberty for the tennis, and I'll be at Centennial tonight for the volleyball game. Great time to be alive. I mean, this is exciting times.
It's like Christmas for Trevor.
It really
Good.
Didn't we talk about this? I don't have hobbies. This is my hobby. I love this stuff. I love watching young people compete at the highest level like this, especially locally, and showing and showcasing what Bakersfield and Kern County really does have to offer, which is a lot.
I have a hobby, and that's working telepathically with our director, and it's time to get into the third period. We'll take a break in the huddle right after this.
Valley Strong's youth accounts help kids practice earning and spending in the real world.
So, my rate for dishes is going up with inflation.
Oh, is it?
Blame the economy.
Because when we plant financial literacy young, it grows the rest of their lives. Valley Strong's youth accounts teach kids how to save and earn interest on their hard-earned money.
Hey! You should be earning interest on your savings. Make the money work for you.
Because when we plant financial literacy young, it grows the rest of their lives.
It's one of those moments, everybody, that 1 minute break we have. Boy, wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall here? I'm Vance Palm. This is Stan Green. It's Trevor Horn. Our director, Al, is back there trying to keep us dialed in here. All right, we're in the third period. First period was a long one. With a lot of content. We just touched on tennis, water polo, and volleyball. And now we get into this week's game. We glossed over them about 18 times in our first period discussion. We will not be making picks today. No picks today. That'll happen in the huddle. And we'll talk about where the In the Huddle program is going to be here in a moment. We are now in the third period, so let's get our brackets out. And Trevor and Al, what do we have first?
Well, how do you want to do this?
I say we go from, let's finish.
Al, can you flip them? Start with Division 6. Start with slide 8, and we'll go 8-7-6.
8-7-6. This is to prove that it's live. It's to prove that we all get along for about 15 to 20 minutes a day. So we're
pretend.
Let's go. Come on, T1.
So Division 6, we do have one local team in it, and that's the 12C Miramonte Lions. Like we said, after they beat Kern Valley 56-39, they're at Firebaugh, and Firebaugh had hit their hands full against number 13 Orange Cove in a 27-21 victory. So this is not a guarantee win for the 4 seed, just like it wasn't a guaranteed win for the Bronx on Friday night as the 5 seed. Miramonte and that team and Nate Johnson and a fiery defense, they're ready to get going, and they're not worried about being a Division VI version of Ryan Matthews right now and making it the Nate Gonzalez right and Nate Gonzalez left show on offense. 39 carries is just incredible. I was talking to Coach Littlejohn on Sunday night. He goes, Marshall Dillard once ran it 52 times for us in a playoff game. I went, that's incredible.
I remember those days.
Yeah, but that's what Miramonte is. That's the identity they have right now, and that's what they're ready to go for. Greatest season in program history, first playoff win, and here they are going back on the road. They're the road warriors, and they're okay with it. Would they rather be home? Yes, but like Christian Johnson said, they've played better on the road than they have at home this year.
I'd hate to be Fireball. I would not want to be Fireball tonight. They got by Orange Cove, right? Mm-hmm. By 6.
Barely.
By 6, and now they're taking on Miramonte. I wouldn't want to be Fireball.
They trailed most of that game.
Right.
Yep.
And then Marshall Dillard, 52. I'd have given it to him 53 times. Actually, you know what? I'd have thrown the ball. I'd have thrown it.
Finally go over the
Christian
top at
Johnson needs to fix some things on defense.
Oof.
So don't fix anything on offense for sure.
Let it go.
Marshall Dillard and I are the same class of 83. And I remember watching those games, and my buddies were out there on the field and going, Michael Stewart, Todd Littlejohn, yikes, Marshall to run over dudes. Okay, let's go.
So that winner will play the winner of Minaret's Boron, which is a 1-9 matchup on the top half of the Division VI bracket. Lower half is Lindsay versus Riverdale, and Granite Hills, who defeated Foothill. They will be at Corcoran. Corcoran just manhandled McFarland 42-6 in the first round. In Division 4, this will be the first time we get to see Shafter in the playoffs this season after they received the 1 bye in this bracket, and they will host the North High Stars.
What a game of 2
absolutely fantastic
campuses and programs. So the coaching tree, it's going to be a great. Give me your thoughts on Shafter North, Stan. That is, wow.
Well, I think Shafter is, if they're not 100% right now, they're 95%, maybe 99. So they're going to be a tall task for North High. But, Adam, like I said before, Adam's done a great job. And I think with him, he's going to make sure he controls the ball. He's going to control the clock. And, if Shafter can't make mistakes, and I hate to say this, but, we saw not really a similar matchup, but I think last year was the playoffs. They were playing Wasco or RFK, and they knew they weren't going to get the ball that many times. And you got to be really careful if you don't have the ball that many times.
Let's go back to week 4. 17-7 lead over the Drillers is what the North High Stars had at one point.
Right.
You cannot get a slow start against an Adam Levinson team because they will take advantage of it. Because they will run the ball, they will burn the clock, and they will score on you without you even noticing. Elijah Valdivinos, if he can get open the open field, good luck finding a cornerback that could bring him down on the first try.
Going to be a good one. How about South and Roosevelt?
How about that? 2 upsets with South beating Dos Palos and then Roosevelt defeating number 2 Exeter, a team that we really, I think everybody penciled them into the championship against Shafter this year. And now Roosevelt, as a 15 seed, the Rough Riders, the Teddy Roosevelt Rough Riders, are now the 15 seed. And they're actually 2 15 seeds won as well in Division 3, the 15 seed won as well. So it's pretty incredible. Or in Division 5, I apologize.
That's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a great game. Roosevelt South.
So you got the bookend of those 2 divisions right now, Kern County centric, and they're both at home with South getting the 10 seed. So this is incredible. South Roosevelt winner will play their Coalinga or Chowchilla, and then the winner of the Shafter North game will play Emmanuel or McLean. And McLean's a really sneaky team. 10-0, but 9-1 on the field. Their one loss was to Sunnyside, a team that's 11-0 on the field, but 7-4 because they had to forfeit 4 wins.
All right, now we go with Liberty out. The focus turns to the remaining top shelf games. The 1 seed host Bakersfield High School Drillers hosting Arroyo Grande, and Arroyo Grande is no slouch. They are no slouch whatsoever. I listen to Greg and Pag, and I listen to you all the time, and Arroyo Grande, no slouch. And then you have Frontier, the 3 seed, hosting the upstart Golden Hawks, the 7 seed. We've got about 10 more minutes, guys, to wrap everything up with just this and then getting ready for our In the Huddle. It's a good amount of time. So Trevor, let's start with that Frontier Centennial.
Well,
game.
this is the Division B bracket, as in Bakersfield.
Got it. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom bracket, Frontier Centennial.
I love this matchup. We saw it a few years ago when BHS and Liberty played back-to-back weeks. They played in the regular season finale and they played in the first round of the playoffs. So this is not abnormal to see two teams playing so quickly afterwards. Obviously, in the 1AA bracket, you get the same thing with it being an all-track bracket. But this one, I love this game because, like we said 2 weeks ago, it was such a close game. Frontier pulling away late in that one, 28-14 victory for the Titans. But Centennial's got they got a head full of steam right now with that defense and what they were able to do to Buchanan. Really made their offense look pedestrian last Thursday. So this is a total toss-up game. I honestly don't know who I'm going with on this one because it is so close, because they look just so good. And Richard Sterrett and Chris Bandy doing such a great job with these two
You better
programs.
have a pick by Friday.
I'll have a pick by Friday.
Stan, your thoughts on this bottom bracket, Frontier Centennial?
I mean, this is the game that we all want to see, right? This week, anyways. This is the game that I'll say it again. Centennial was driving to tie that game late and had the unfortunate fumble and I will say this, that kid was working that night, the Grant kid, and it's just unfortunate that he fumbled the football, but he runs so hard, and you can tell that kid cares 100%. And so, with Roland coming back, maybe on offense possibly, with Grant, the way he runs the football, it's going to be a great game.
And Grant Scott actually doing a pretty good job filling as what you would consider the number 3 quarterback for the Jayhawks this year. But you look at the Titans too. We just talked about it with Shafter. Frontier is as healthy as they've been all season long. Yeah. And then you get a guy like Kobe Watson having his best game of the season in the first round of the playoffs on Friday night against Bullard. That's scary when you get a guy like that getting more confidence now.
You can't have dudes like that running loose in the secondary.
No, you cannot.
I got a couple storylines I'll lay on you, Cats. First of all, these two coaches, well, all three of our coaches in this bracket, but these two coaches, Coach Bandy and Coach Sterrett, hard to come up with two coaches that I have more respect for and admiration for from every standpoint of their life. You spend time with Coach Bandy and, it's what you see is what you get. You spend time with Coach Sterrett and you see this guy that's come over from Texas into a whole new environment and he's really put his name and his stamp on this program. So I start with the coaches, and then you think of this narrative. You have the Frontier Titans with, a big-time quarterback, a guy that's got a big arm, and he's starting to peak at the right time. Brady Campbell could be the story against a team that's lost their star quarterback, yet they're still in the semifinals. So Coach Sterrett having to figure out how to keep this thing competitive and work it hard with his defense and whatever he can put together. And then Coach Bandy having all those chess pieces healthy and ready to go. It's going to shape up to be a great one. And my last point, so far, it's Tuesday, 2 o'clock-ish. I haven't seen all that internet posting social smack talk that I saw with Centennial BHS. There seems to be a much different approach with the families and parents. Very different approach to this game. So our Kern High Network game of the week will be this Friday night. It'll be Centennial at Frontier. We'll talk about that in just a second, but get geared up for that. That's going to be a big time. Okay, top of the bracket, T.
BHS 10-1. Their only loss to BCHS on the last-second field goal, but here they are hosting in the semifinals in Division 1A against Arroyo Grande, who beat Clovis West 27-22. And Arroyo Grande, like they are year in and year out, big boys, tough runners, tough football. So
multi-sport athletes.
Multi-sport athletes. What you're going to see, and probably some farmers in there, but what you're going to see is strength versus speed in this game. Which one is going to take over? Is it going to be Arroyo Grande's offense kind of driving down the field, or is the Bryson Abbott, Brenton Brown run game and Elijah Cavazos finding those speedsters, whether it's Harvey Rogers III, whether it's BJ VC, whether it's Jalen Ford, whether it's Isaiah Richards? I mean, those are four of the fastest guys in the central section that he has at his disposal. And then you've got, one of the top running backs in the central section in Bryson Abbott, who's going to play at NAU next year, and Brenton Brown. He's not the number 2. I mean, he's not a backup running back. He's RB2. I mean, there's such a big 1-2 punch, and the defense still being very opportunistic. This is not going to be an easy game for the Drillers.
Not at all.
But it's not going to be an easy game for Arroyo Grande either. And Sheehy knows what's ahead of them. Those seniors just got their first playoff win of their high school careers, and they're hungry for another one.
Stan, could be damp, could be moist, could be a little wet on Friday night. We'll see about that. I only bring that up because you're looking at those two different kinds of games right there. Strength, speed, still on the ground, still in the trenches. It's going to be a really, really good game. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that field is in such good shape, and the crew does an amazing job taking care of that field. It's been in great shape all year. So unless we have some torrential downpour like we did at Chico a few years ago with Shafter, I don't see the facility being an issue. I think back, one of the highlights in my head was I think it was Ford caught a little hitch route early in the year, and he was surrounded by people. And I remember, I think it was you or Kenny said, fastest guy in the state, and he accelerated and outran everybody, and they all had an angle on him. What I would go back to again is on Friday night at 7 o'clock, you hear that, doo-doo-doo. It's 7 p.m. This is a public service announcement. Do you know where your drillers are?
I'm going to use it Friday night. Even though I'll be at another field, I'm still going to use it because we're going to be watching the game so close.
I'm telling you, man, that school and that team are so healthy for our community with football, and that team has the ability to do amazing things this year.
Well, how about this? On Facebook the other day, somebody that I think both of us saw yesterday, Chris Clayton. I saw him in the In-N-Out drive-through. You probably saw him at the CSUB game last night.
Yeah, I wasn't at In-N-Out, but apparently
I was. I was at Healthy Snacks.
Yeah, I was at Cone's.
I got a free meal for veterans. I got a full free meal at In-N-Out. So I'm going to indulge myself on Veterans Day. Thank you very much. No one cares.
Okay, what about it's Chris?
So he posted, he goes, how fast is this Ford kid? And I popped on. I go, guys, he's the fastest receiver in Bakersfield history on the simple fact that he's the fastest 100 runner in Central Section history because he bested Marquise Hollowell's time in the 100. So he is the fastest wide receiver that we've ever seen in Kern County history.
You got a chime for us, Al?
So we're close. We're right on time.
How did that go?
But just think about this for one last second before we close this thing out. No matter what, in the bottom part of the bracket, you got either Frontier or Centennial that's going into the finals. And if Bakersfield can get past Arroyo Grande, then you're going to have an all Bakersfield finals in that Division 1A. Look out, everybody. Okay.
And where's that game played?
At BHS if they win.
Right.
No, but larger venue?
No, it'll be at Bakersfield High School. That is a larger venue. That holds 5,000 people.
It's a larger venue in town.
No, stop.
We have a job opening.
It's been a blast having you on the show.
You did a great job this year, Trevor.
It was fun while it lasted.
I'm out.
Okay, in the huddle this Friday, 12:41 to 119. Al gets us to the dot. She tells us 12:41, 119.
No nonsense.
In the huddle at Frontier High School. It's going to be a blast. It'll be our 25th show, so a milestone show. Any thoughts on that, Stan?
I'm excited to be at Frontier. You know, they got Mr. Kelly and the great band and the cheerleaders. It's a snow day. So as long as we're outside, it's going to snow there.
Oh,
it's going to be exciting. Bring your
love
snow
it.
gear.
Mike Gibson pulling out all the stops. And then, of course, when we go to these campuses and we have the game that night, this one is going to have a real special feel. Trevor, before we close off show 24, any final thoughts of what we went over today and what's coming up?
Division I semifinals this week. Came at us so quickly. It still feels like it's 100 degrees and we're outside in August, and here we are. It's finally cold, and it's finally football season, and we got 3 teams vying for a Central Section Championship next week. Let's have some fun.
Trevor, thank you for everything, boss.
I'm excited. Got a chance to have 2 Bakersfield schools in the final.
Alex, thank you for everything you do, for getting us ready, keeping us on time. We appreciate it. We'll be in the huddle